Felicidades a todos que están graduando. Love seeing all the graduation pictures, all the graduation videos coming through my feed. Please keep that up, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing those moments of happiness, sharing those moments of joy with your loved ones. Awesome to see. Great work, everybody. Congratulations, graduates. I'm going to start in English, después vamos a ir en español, pero como siempre, si tiene preguntas en español, puede ponerla abajo o puede mandarme mensaje directo después si ustedes quieren. All right, so immigration news, what's going on? A lot of buzz around this new Supreme Court case that came out. There was a new Supreme Court case came out. Horrible, horrible decision. There's a man who was applying to become a legal permanent resident. On his application for a driver's license, he mistakenly checked the box, I'm a U.S. citizen. He was not a U.S. citizen. He was nonetheless entitled to a driver's license. Don't get mistaken, it's not like here in Arizona. Under the laws of the state he was in, he was allowed to get a driver's license. He checked the wrong box. All right? He gets arrested. Criminal charges put against him. They get dismissed. Let me say that again. The criminal charges against him got dismissed. So the prosecutor brought the case. At some point, maybe the prosecutor, maybe the judge said, you know what? We're throwing this case out. Not enough evidence here. Case is gone. Nonetheless, immigration still uses it against him and says, we're going to deny your application for residency because you at one point in time clicked a box that said you were a U.S. citizen. Now, in order, even in the criminal context and in the immigration context, for you to be punished or denied residency, you have to knowingly make a statement that you're a citizen. Checking a wrong box doesn't qualify as knowingly. Or you have to know the box you were checking said that, the reason why, your intention was, right, to get that immigration benefit or to get a benefit. So the immigration judge said, don't agree with you, case denied. The BIA, which is a step after the immigration judge, agreed with the immigration judge, said your case is denied. Case goes to the 11th Circuit. 11th Circuit says we don't have jurisdiction to review. Goes to the Supreme Court, and on a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court says we agree. We do not have jurisdiction to review the factual disputes in immigration cases. So here's how it can work. Trump, or the next Trump, appoints an immigration judge. Don't go through the Senate. No incredible vetting like other judges that we see. Just gets appointed by Attorney General's office. They're not an immigration judge. They are a racist, just for the sake of argument, they're a racist, horrible person. They can make wrong factual determinations to deny every single asylum case, adjustment case, 42B, 42A in front of them. And the Supreme Court, the federal courts, the real courts, we'll call them, the Article 3 courts, are without jurisdiction taken away from them by Congress to review even erroneous factual disputes. Now, when we take cases to the Ninth Circuit, we all the time see this same argument, right? We know that to take it to the Ninth Circuit has to be constitutional, it has to be a legal issue, it can't be a factual issue. This is just the punch in the face for me as a practitioner, right? That even if you have something egregious, erroneous, that if it was something egregious, I would bring that up and I would, try to get that still reviewed on a due process argument or something. Maybe we could still sneak it in that way. Nonetheless, an unfortunate turn in the law. In this case, we do not like seeing the decision that was put forth by the United States Supreme Court, 5-4, right? So perhaps someday the court gets changed, we can revisit this again, and the real courts can look at the discretionary issues put out by immigration judges. Because I'm telling you, I've been in these immigration court hearings, and you see a judge and a prosecutor just grilling your client, just working it so that they can get something on the record, that they can say someone's lying about something, and not having the opportunity to go to an unbiased court and present that in front of a judge is absolutely ridiculous. That is the latest case from the U.S. Supreme Court in the realm of immigration. right? I didn't lead with this one. I didn't put it in the description because I'm sick and tired of getting on here and saying, here's what's going on with immigration reform, and nothing happens. Nonetheless, it is in the news, so I thought people should know about it. Democrats renew the push for green cards for documented dreamers. As the months go by, I will know what happened to immigration reform, what's going on. As the months go by, it just continues to get more embarrassing and more embarrassing. Right? The Democrats are essentially asking for less and less. Thanks, Mr. Padilla, for being in there and for advocating, but nonetheless, Democrats continue to ask for less and less and continue to get absolutely nothing. Now, in this article, Senator Padilla talks about, or he did a press conference, and he's looking for a bill specifically at people who age out. Right? Someone who ages out means they turn 21. They can no longer be considered under the parent's application. Most of this was taken care of, the Child Citizenship Protection Act. Nonetheless, we got this bill here that's supposed to apply to these individuals who age out of this status and I guess for some reason wouldn't be protected by Child Citizenship Protection Act. That's what they're going for now. A little bit later in the article, it talks about dreamers more broadly as a bigger category, and it goes back in there to say, hey, some Republicans want to do something, but Democrats are saying all or nothing, and nothing's getting done. I don't know who to blame. I know it's not getting done, right, as far as that argument. Is it the Democrats not willing to concede on smaller issues and just getting those passed and wanting the big issue? Is the Republicans refusing to actually do anything and they're just talking? It's just an absolute mess, and we've been waiting for way too long, and nothing has been resolved. Right? Speaking of nothing getting resolved, the terrorist attack on the New York subway, here we have it here, right? We had 4 individuals with immigration issues who were involved in the investigation, being witness, providing cell phone videos, and the question is asked, will that be enough to persuade immigration authorities to give them visas or asylum? Now, you may have seen things going around in the media, like in France, an immigrant helps somebody, they pass a law so that person can get status. A couple other countries across the world have done similar things. And people are really saying, why are we not doing it in the United States? Specifically, these 4 individuals all have their own individual stories behind and what they're trying to accomplish. One of them, the woman that provided the cell phone video, has a prior removal order based on a raid that was done inside the subway that we wouldn't see nowadays, no criminal history whatsoever. And nonetheless, she still provided her cell phone to officers that helped in the investigation, identifying and eventually capturing this terrorist. Now, her attorney's like saying, hey, what's going on here? Like, you're giving her hero status, you're giving her awards, proclamations. You know what she really wants? She wants that magic Social Security number. She wants that deportation order rescinded and taken away. Yet we don't see a great movement from the feds in securing immigration status for those that went above and beyond. Now you might be asking yourself, well, hey, what about this thing called the U visa, right? Isn't there something called a U visa? Who qualifies for that? Can they qualify for that? U visa specifically says you have to be the victim of a crime of violence. Now maybe someone that was in the subway could qualify for that as a victim, and the police agency would have to certify. It has to be the police, a prosecutor, or a judge that certifies that they are the victim of a certain enumerated crime, and then were hurt mentally and cooperated with law enforcement. So maybe that could happen, but for sure it couldn't happen if you're simply a witness. When we get that call a lot, hey, I saw a murder, hey, I'm a witness in a beating. Unfortunately for the U visa, that does not qualify. There are a couple of visas, right? I thank Daniel for sending this over to me. I appreciate it, Daniel. There are a couple of visas, the S visa and the T visa, that might fit here. Those are generally used more for people who are out of country and the U.S. wants to bring them into the country. I can't apply for that. Anybody that comes to me for an S visa, I have to say, sorry, there's no application for me to fill out. It's a government agency that has to ask for that first, not an immigration attorney, not the individual. And they're very limited. As you can see here for the S visa, I think they're not supposed to be more than 20 a year. And for the S visa for criminal, S visa for terrorism, not supposed to be more than 50 a year, right? So that's very, very limited. And Daniel's saying over here, like deported veterans, there's a reason people, it's a travesty of justice. There's a reason that people are afraid to speak up and stand out. Yeah, we're just not doing enough as a nation. We're not coming together enough. It's like we hear the word immigration and everybody just freaks out and nobody can cooperate to get anything done because we're all too busy trying to get ourselves reelected or elected the next time around. And so appreciate you sending that, Daniel. Thanks so much. Claro que sí, mi placer, Verónica. Gracias porque está viéndonos. Sí voy a cambiar a español. Bobby C, appreciate that, man. I'm doing great. Feeling amazing. Loving seeing all these graduation videos that are coming along from people day in. I'm just seeing through my feed all the time. Happiness, joy, satisfaction. That grind that people are doing for years. Now they're graduating. That's so great to see. Thanks for tuning in. And this is essentially why I believe things like the S visas and T visas aren't used enough. We have people that are heroes that go out of their ways to put themselves in danger, to capture people, and they're just left to the side, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't think you should have to stop a terrorist. You shouldn't have to help identify somebody to gain legal status. We are long overdue. We're long overdue for this push for immigration reform that we haven't had for so long. So we have the continued attack from the United States Supreme Court, a decision that came down horribly saying that the real courts, the federal courts, cannot review factual disputes in immigration cases, even if we know everybody agrees they're erroneous, that there is no jurisdiction for them to review. So we continue to get punched in the gut, and we continue to not see immigration reform happen. And even those that take extraordinary efforts within our society still aren't rewarded with immigration status. So that's unfortunate and disappointing, but nonetheless, that's the state that we're in right now in May of 2022. Voy a cambiar a español. I'm going to switch to Spanish. Feel free to ask any questions, comments in English if you so choose. Always happy to answer that. So, gracias comunidad. Aquí estamos hablando del más reciente noticias de migración. Uno de los casos más importantes que la gente ha hablado en la última semana era este caso del Corte Suprema, donde el Corte Suprema salió diciendo que ellos, el Corte Federal, Corte de Apelación y el Corte Suprema, no tienen derecho a revisar disputas de cosas que no son legales en los cortes de migración, ¿verdad? So, en este ejemplo, el señor estaba aplicando por residente permanente, todo iba bien, puso una X, que él es ciudadano americano, una aplicación de su licencia de manejar. Él tenía derecho a licencia, pero puso una X en un lugar incorrecto diciendo que es ciudadano americano. Basado en eso, pusieron cargos penales. Él ganó completamente su caso penal y dijeron que él no tiene que ir a cárcel, no tiene que hacer aprobación, nada. De todos modos, migración empezó el proceso de deportación y dijeron porque usted puso un X en una caja que usted es ciudadano americano, por eso nos vamos a deportar. El persona testificó y no sabía, puso el X, pero no sabía que estaba poniendo nada de ser ciudadano americano. De todos modos, el Corte de Apelación dijo, no tenemos derecho a revisar si eso es verdad o no. Nada más tenemos derecho a revisar cosas legales, pero la decisión que puso el juez es la decisión final sobre ese asunto. Significa que si Trump gana otra vez, o las personas que Trump puso en la oficina, pueden poner cosas que son incorrectas nada más porque no le gusta la gente. Y el Corte de Apelación no tiene derecho a revisar esas determinaciones de los jueces de migración. Más importante hoy que nunca, que tienes un abogado bueno defendiendo a usted en frente del juez de migración. La primera vez, hemos ganado como 2 o 3 casos recientemente de abogados que no hicieron nada en el corte de migración. 2 creo que fueron deportados porque los abogados no cumplieron de entregar las aplicaciones cuando el juez ordenó. Otro forzó a su cliente a aceptar ser voluntario en vez de pelear su caso. Es increíble las cosas que estamos viendo en esos días en contra de nuestra comunidad. Por eso es muy, muy importante, otra vez con esta decisión de Corte Suprema, no podemos hacer la apelación. Muchas veces ganamos en las apelaciones porque esos errores ya es más importante que de principio peleamos y ganar el caso. ¿Okay? Otro asunto que no puso ahí arriba, ¿por qué? Porque sí es algo que yo estoy cansado de hablar. Otra vez demócratas diciendo que están haciendo algo para la reforma. Aquí en este artículo están enfocando menos en toda la categoría de la gente que no tiene papeles, especificando más en grupos más chiquitos. Pero de todo modo no hay movimiento. No hay una propuesta buena que tiene chances de ganar, pero sí salió en las noticias y yo quería explicar a ustedes, porque muchos sí me piden abogado qué está pasando con la reforma. El más reciente noticias que los demócratas siguen buscando remedios por grupos más chiquitos, pero de todos modos no puede pasar el Senado y no pueden ser firmados por el presidente Biden. ¿Okay? Otro tema, había 4 personas que tienen problemas con migración, que ayudaron en la investigación de la persona que hizo terrorismo en Nueva York recientemente. Una persona específicamente, una mujer de México, tiene un orden de deportación. Ya fue ordenado deportada antes, no salió, no tiene un récord criminal, lo arrestaron en una redada que hicieron en el subway antes, en los 2000 por allá. Y ella ayudó en la investigación y entregó su celular a la policía. Es posible que ella sea elegible por la visa U, ¿verdad? Víctima de crimen de violencia, ayudó en la investigación y sufrió mentalmente por el abuso. Porque ella estaba ahí en Nueva York presente cuando pasó el incidente, tiene argumento que puede ser que es víctima, no nada más testigo. Eso es importante porque ustedes saben que un testigo no es suficiente para ganar la visa U. Tiene que ser directamente la víctima de un crimen de violencia, no es suficiente ser testigo. Mira, pero había 3 personas más y todavía no es garantizado porque no han firmado la policía, ni el fiscal, ni el juez esa certificación por la visa U. Y había 3 personas afuera que vieron la persona y notificaron a la policía que él estaba ahí en la calle. Esas personas es la definición de testigos, no son víctimas. Esas personas también están muy, muy limitadas sus opciones. Mucha gente dice, pues abogado, ¿por qué ellos no pueden pedir la visa S, la visa que snitch, que digamos en inglés? Esos son limitados, realmente tan chiquitos. 20 por criminal, 50 por terrorismo, y no son nada que yo puedo aplicar ni usted. Tiene que ser una agencia del gobierno que manda la aplicación pidiendo mínimo, ¿verdad? 20, 50 por cada grupo. Y normalmente son para personas que están de afuera y quieren venir aquí a testificar y ser testigos. Estamos diciendo aquí hoy, es tan difícil. También, Verónica, estamos de acuerdo pidiendo a Dios por la reforma migratoria. Estamos pidiendo por la cosa más grande del mundo, que todos deben ser el derecho de quedar aquí, de vivir aquí, de estar junto con sus familias, de celebrar, como estamos viendo muchas familias ahorita, las graduaciones. La pregunta viene siendo que personas que hacen esas acciones de héroes, ¿verdad? Mis niños encantaban ver el Doctor Strange unas semanas pasadas, y aquí tenemos personas en vivos que no están haciendo cosas poniendo ellos en riesgo para ayudar a la comunidad, y de todos modos no están dando ni protección para ellos, el gobierno federal. Entonces, queremos que los demócratas, los republicanos trabajen juntos, no nada más para dar visas o ciudadanía a las personas que hicieron esos actos, pero para todos. Porque seguimos viviendo esas decisiones del jueces de Corte de Apelación, de Corte Suprema, en contra de nuestra comunidad, y ya es tiempo por protección por todos. Eso vamos a seguir peleando, eso vamos a seguir orando. Ojalá ustedes sigan haciendo la misma también. Esas son las más recientes noticias de migración. Cualquier pregunta o comentario que tiene, siempre puede poner en los comentarios. Si tiene preguntas sobre su caso, con gusto nos puede marcar también, mandar texto al número abajo, ¿verdad? Do you believe, Bobby asked, immigration reform is going to happen in the next 2 years? So I have zero hope before the midterm elections, right? Not going to get done. People are just too upset and too into their own thing of getting reelected. Now, I am an eternal optimist. Hope springs eternal. I do think that we will get something within that next 2-year gap that is more limited, right? Maybe something just for dreamers and TPS, maybe something just for dreamers, but I do think that there's still a chance that something will come out within the next 2 years before Biden's next election, where people just get so upset and so tired of nothing happen that they're forced to take some sort of action that will help, 500,000, maybe 1 million people that fit the criteria, with a lot of concessions from the Republicans, right? And again, we're going to see how the midterms shake out, see what kind of balance we have after that. My guess, and normally as history tells us, it goes back, the power swifts back a little bit the other way. Given that we're so close, that might, result in everything being completely done with, and we're just at another stalemate again. But I do think there's still some hope for that small limited group within the next 2 years. All right. Muchísimas gracias. Dios lo bendiga a usted y su familia también. Gracias a todos por vernos aquí. Y ya tenemos luz todavía, ¿verdad? Sí, tenemos el luz todavía. So, que tiene excelente día, comunidad, y aquí nos vemos pronto. Y como siempre, si no está viendo en vivo, no se preocupe, nos puede ver después también.